All right. Hey everyone, welcome to Smash and Grab Comics. Tonight we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have a little segment on a subject that's close to TR and I's heart. We're talking with Steve Lombardo from Punks for Autism. If you can see my shirt, I don't know. Are you recording with that camera?
Yep.
Okay.
We got you. We can see
All right.
the move your microphone out of the way.
Get out of here. Hold on. How's that?
There you go.
Okay. Well, I'll stand up. We're going to put photos up anyway. TR and I have a interest in this subject because TR, you are on the autism spectrum.
Yes. I have autism. I
love your
have my
autistic.
autistic tattoo, which I don't know if you can see there.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah. And it even has dotting the I. It has a puzzle piece.
Nice.
Because that is that's the symbol for autism. A lot of different groups use ribbons of different colors. Autism went with the puzzle piece, and boy does it match, because when you have autism, there are things the way that they need to line up, and
right.
Like with my toys, I remember when I was a kid, I would spend so much time lining them up, having them stand up. I mean, we're talking hours of just having them stand up looking right, and it wasn't to display them or anything. It's just I needed them to be like that.
Be right.
Yeah. And it brought me so much comfort. I'm what's called a high functioning autistic, which that tends to lead to high functioning depression as well, which I have.
Let's get into that in a minute.
Sure.
We've got Steve. Steve, tell us a little bit about Punks for Autism. What's your connection with autism?
So basically, so I have 4 kids, 2 of them which are on the spectrum. I have a 6-year-old daughter who's high functioning, just like UTR, and a 7-year-old son who is a little bit more severe. He's nonverbal, and it's a little bit more, I guess, on the other end of the spectrum, if you want to call it that.
Yep.
So I've been very, immersed around autism and doing what I can to see my children succeed, support them in any way I can for, over the last 7 years now. So for me, this whole Punks for Autism kind of came about because I would look around and see some of the stuff that, obviously trying to support the autistic community and see a bunch of kind of designs out there and with good intent, but I was just like, dude, I would never wear something.
Nobody wants to wear the fundraiser t-shirt.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something that you would get for free or just.
I know. I agree. And that's why when I saw your brand, I was like, yes. I've been trying to think of a symbol for myself, being afflicted with borderline personality disorder. I don't even think there is a recognizable thing for that.
We can start one.
Right. Well, we should do that.
Now, I was looking through. I haven't ordered because I'm relatively new in on this whole conversation. This was Tyler set this whole thing up, but I was looking at your website
with you in mind, buddy.
Sure, because I'm so pretty.
Yes.
So I am looking at the designs, and for sure you're going to be getting an order from me, because I mean, there is some amazing stuff on here. If you guys are at all into the metal, hardcore, punk, even honestly some of the ska stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I like the Panther one is my favorite. There's a Panther one coming out of a puzzle piece.
I'm absolutely getting that. There's no question.
Old school Sailor Jerry type Panther, right? I've got one under my arm.
Badass, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole aesthetic, the punk, the autism together, that definitely caught my attention. Are you a huge punk rock fan?
Absolutely. I've been going to punk, hardcore, the kind of underground shows since probably about like 12 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's still my bread and butter, even to this day, years later. And a lot of friends in the communities, the different communities. And it's just that's always been my cup of tea, I guess. And still to this day, I got my kids listening to music, trying to generation ones where I can. And so kind of ethos and that imagery and that love for those communities is definitely what brought to the birth and the rise of this. So.
When you guys have events, does your aesthetic draw a lot of people?
Yeah, so we're relatively. I mean, we've been doing this just a little bit now, over a couple months, I would say.
Yeah.
As far as getting the brand out there, obviously, right now with everything going on,
Right.
a little bit challenging for communal events, but yeah, the reception's been great so far. I mean, we've been getting people from different ends, different spectrums. I mean, not spectrum.
No, no, no. Pun intended, maybe.
Around that are coming together, and it's great to see. To be and just to give you guys a little bit more background. So all the money, I have a full-time job. I'm not doing this as like my way to earn an income or anything.
Right.
My family. This is all the profits we make, we're giving back to the autistic community. So we're donating those to several different organizations out there, ones that are supporting people on the spectrum, and giving programs, giving services, affording new opportunities for them. We're not trying to. I know there's some other organizations out there that want to do more scientific approach and cure stuff, and that's not our approach. We want to support, in not just in one area. We're supporting adults on the spectrum. We notice that there's a lot of services kind of drop off after people become adults.
Yeah.
A lot of emphasis more on the youth. So
absolutely
great ones out there that we're supporting. Madison House is one of those that does services and programs for people 21 and over.
They are great.
So TR, you're a very open person, so I hope you don't mind me saying things, but you have a hard time holding a job. You have a hard time going to doing things outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
Are there organizations where you live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that help adults like you?
There sort of are. There's, and I think Punks for Autism helps address this, even with just the t-shirts, even if the proceeds weren't going anywhere. A lot of awareness needs to be brought forth, because it's really, and I'm sure you've felt this as well, Tyler, mental illness and things like that, people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to deal with it. They want to sweep it under the rug. It's not pretty. Mm-hmm. And there isn't a nice, quick, easy solution. There isn't a magic pill that, gets rid of the bad symptoms of autism, but still makes it so you can count really well, or, whatever stereotype. The truth of autism is, it is such a wide spectrum.
Yeah.
And the amount of help that people would need, and the type of help to get a system in place would take a lot.
Right.
But stuff like this is where you start.
Yeah.
Is raising awareness. And I mean, it's just like the Americans with Disabilities Act. It had to start somewhere, and it started with someone in a wheelchair saying, I should be allowed to be in this store.
Right.
So, I'm all for this. I'm a big fan. And you're saying it's just a couple months old, but I mean, the shirts that I'm seeing, I mean, how much time did you spend on that? Because they're looking awesome.
Well, thank you. I mean, all the credit to the several artists. I mean, I'm not an artist myself. I mean, just like you guys, I got tattoos, so I pay people to put art on.
So, Steve, I was going to tell you, I teach high school art, and I was telling my students about your stuff. We were wondering if we could submit some art to you and see if there was something that you would like to use for a shirt.
Absolutely.
All right. You're gonna be getting a care package of probably a dozen designs.
Perfect.
My students were super excited to come up with ideas for this, and so we're gonna send them your way. And if something catches your fancy, definitely use it. You got to put no, I'm just kidding. You don't have to put anything on it.
You guys a shout out and everything. Amazing. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So, go ahead, TR.
It is so. Trying to explain autism is really difficult.
Right.
There was a comedian that I heard that did it pretty well. It's basically everyone else in the room is on cocaine and you aren't.
Yeah.
Or nobody in the room is on cocaine, but you are.
Right.
You are the person who is on the different wavelength.
Yeah.
And that wavelength is the way the world works. It's not just like you're not vibing with someone. You're not vibing with the world.
Yeah.
And you need things to work a certain way for you to be in your comfort zone.
It's so interesting because the things that we talk about in my therapy and things like that for borderline, they sound so similar.
Borderline and autism they can be misdiagnosed as each other.
We use different terminology, but yet I'm like, oh, that sounds like this,
Sure.
right? When I have a hard time with somebody and I don't want to talk to them and I shut off for them, okay, well, borderline terminology, that's splitting from this person. I may feel like I hate them right now, but in 2 hours, when they do something nice for me, all of a sudden I'm right back to, oh yeah, you're cool.
Yeah. And I mean, with borderline, there's a lot of the social stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people, that's what's most noticeable about autism is the different social things. So for people who are farther on the spectrum, the nonverbal people, it can be called temper tantrums.
Yeah.
But it's really not. Something in their world is wrong.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to fix it. So
we just call it an episode. My wife is very good about knowing when I've been triggered and I have to go into a shutdown mode to come out of this anger that I can't seem to control.
Yeah.
And so, Steve, you've got 2 kids on the spectrum, and one of them being high functioning. Like, does she go to school in a normal capacity?
So she's in normal capacity, but she does take some like social behavioral kind of stuff to help her with. She's great at like the scholastic part, everything. I mean, she's kindergarten.
Yep.
But she does get support on her interacting too with her peers.
Yeah.
That is so important, and it's so great that sort of thing was not available to me as a child, and I am reaping the results of it today. I mean, just interpersonal relationships, I don't understand them, and trying to get them to work. Like, Tyler and I are friends. I don't know how that happened. Like, I don't know how to become friends with
We were
someone.
at a comic book convention, and we both went to the same comic book store kind of thing. And he heard I did a comic book podcast and just started hanging around. Oh, is that your phone?
That was my new phone that I thought I silenced, but apparently I don't know how. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, but I agree with I don't like having friends. It's too tough. I worry too much about why aren't they texting me? Did I do something wrong? Kind of thing all the time. And, God, what was the point I was on before your phone? Cut in.
My phone ruined everything.
I don't know.
It's a new one, so I apologize.
Okay. So at my school, I get all of the kids, right? Even the ones that are spending most of the day in the special education room. You know what I mean? They come to art because even with the kids that are in school that are our most, they need the most help, right? Mm-hmm. With what they're doing. There's something for them to do in my room.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's kind of what I love so much about the punks for autism, because I absolutely love the aesthetic of that.
I was just going to say, I love the aesthetic. I love the music. I love
and being able to finally have something that associates the two together is really great. Was the idea just because you love punk and...
Well, yeah, just because, like I was saying, there's the art that's out there, at least what I've seen. While it's in good intention, I don't see like boring. A lot of people today. It's just boring. It's vanilla. It's sorry for the Ryan Seacrest fans out there, but it's like watching Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Then that.
I don't know. I wanted to do something a little bit more appealing, a little bit more, I guess, cooler. And also, if you think about it, autism and punk are so related.
Yeah,
very much.
It's like a lot of people who are deep on the spectrum, or even in other angles of it. Punk rock, the ethos is just do what you want. Don't care about people's opinions. Be yourself. Be happy with who you are. Yeah. And when I see like my kid, he doesn't care what anyone thinks.
No.
Yeah.
Stop and staring, and I'm just like, you are so punk rock.
How is he? Is he school age?
Yeah, he's 7 years old. He's in a special needs class right now
Yep.
Okay.
with other children his age
Yep.
situations. But yeah, he is going to school.
That's awesome. So yeah, TR and I were talking about starting our podcast. This is going to be an addendum to our comic book podcast, but who knows? Maybe it'll be our first episode for our mental health podcast. And we were thinking about calling it Burnt Toast. TR, do you want to explain the burnt toast reference?
Yeah. So one of the things with autism for me, because I'm high functioning, I talked about those sort of temper tantrums.
Yeah.
Well, I get those, but it's internal. And I get to a level of just freaking out that I could get into a panic attack. I can accidentally work myself into a panic attack.
Oh, I do that a lot.
Yeah. And the tip that I was given was sometimes you smell fire and your house, or you smell smoke and your house is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you smell smoke and it's just that you set the toaster for too dark and you're burnt, your piece of bread is slightly burnt now.
Yeah.
So when you're getting those freakouts, just say toast.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to realize this isn't that big of a deal. Well, I found that actually in Walmart, if you just go toast, people really stare at you, and that doesn't help. So I don't know
your
if
toast
you can
tattoo
see
is
it.
awesome.
It is a slightly burnt piece of toast tattoo on my hand.
Anyway, so I've loved that story since you've told it to me, because it's so true for me too. There are times I react as if the house is on fire, and you realize, oh shit, it's literally just the toaster.
Yeah. With autism, there is sort of a myth that autistic people don't have emotions, or have less emotions. It's the opposite,
for sure.
We feel more, but we have less capacity to handle it.
And you don't know how to reciprocate, right? Or you
Yeah,
don't know how to give back.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot of tricks because since I'm high functioning, you learn the tricks. Like the way that I do eye contact with you.
Yeah.
You didn't really notice I looked away, but I learned that I have to look away. I can't just keep staring at you.
Sure.
Like
it's just too powerful.
Yeah.
I just got these luscious blue eyes.
Preposterous, sir.
But you know what, and you said like, oh, you don't know how you and I became friends. Maybe it's because I suffer similarly, and I'm not looking at you going, oh, I guess we can't really be that good of friends because he has autism. I mean, we'll never relate. And it's like, no, it doesn't. It's not like that at all. To me, I don't come over. This is TR's house where we're at, and I don't come over to TR's house and go, oh, I have to go over to my autistic friend's house. Yeah. No, I'm just going over to your house to hang out. And I hope people can start seeing it that way. You know what I mean? You may have autism, but I don't really. At my school, we really focus on the students having the disorder as opposed to they are the disorder.
Right.
I'm sure you guys have heard that a lot. But I think it's really important because we need to put away these ideas that just because this label is on them that they aren't good enough or can't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And this is a poor analogy, but I have a dog that is blind.
Yeah.
And the way I treated him when he went blind was I helped him as much as I could, but I also changed my expectations based on what he was showing me.
Right.
So he showed me that he still really wanted to be independent, and so I have all this padding that I nailed to the walls and air conditioner foam on the corners that I nailed in there so when he bumps himself, he won't hurt himself.
It is pretty cool. At first I didn't know what was going on there because I knew you didn't have kids.
But with autism and mental illnesses, so much of it is each individual person.
Yeah.
Their own unique set of circumstances.
They need certain bumpers.
Yeah.
Up, and it's not the same for
everybody. And it's different for each person. Yeah. So having the awareness makes it easier for people. I mean, there are always going to be jerks who want to push buttons, but this makes it easier for people to just be aware and understand where we're coming from.
So yeah, Steve, so TR and I will both be buying more shirts because I want this to be our whole wardrobe.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll have to come out with some superhero ones too, and some comic book themed ones.
Oh, yeah.
God. That would be awesome. I'm surprised there isn't an autistic superhero.
There was one. Yes, there is one. I just can't remember who it is.
One of Batman's people in his little bat family. It's a girl, young Cassandra Cain or something. It's like his niece. She's they don't come right out and say that, but her.
There is a character that they have come out and said is autistic, and I can't remember the character off the top of my head.
There should be a whole series. I mean, that would be really interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The one out on Sesame Street a little while ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
For that, but it's good to see that in like there's TV shows. There's a Netflix show called Atypical, so it's good to see that there's like some stuff coming out.
That boy in Atypical is such a good actor.
Yeah.
I mean, when they talk, even when it's like adult stuff, when they're talking about him getting a hand job, right? And I mean, they handle that kind of stuff. I mean, he's a 18, 20, I mean, I don't know how old he is, but young adult, but he's not a kid anymore. So he's got these adult things in his life. And how do you handle that? I mean, he's can't live on his own, and he needs his parents to guide him through it. And it's handled really well in the show, I think.
So,
great. They're putting a positive light, I think, and bringing more people on the spectrum, more awareness in that regard too, to mainstream,
Yeah.
And so forth, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, before we forget to do this, first off, the website is just punksforautism.com.
Yep.
And now, do you have a Twitter account? Because I found you on Facebook. Just search Punks for Autism.
We're currently on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
I have a Twitter account set up, but look for one. Probably, I'd say shortly, we're going to have one coming out pretty soon.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Twitter is its own special hell. I run our Twitter account, so I wish you luck with that.
Well, hey, Steve, is there anything else you want to promote or
is there anything else we can do to help you out?
Well, first of all, thank you, TR and Tyler, for having us on. This is very means a lot to us, and we're great that we can get our message out to.
I'll tag you when we post this so that you can send it to people who want to check out a comic book podcast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you first and foremost, and I mean, obviously we all know the past few years have been challenging.
Yep.
So take this as an opportunity to do some good stuff in the world.
Exactly.
Help people out and make this
work. Yeah.
I don't want to say make America great again,
but hey, we can steal the slogan back. We can steal it back and actually make it mean what it's supposed to mean. But anyway, Steve, we really appreciate you coming on.
And thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yes. Thank you so much. This is a subject that's very dear to both of us, so we really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you guys for having me, and anything that I can do to support you guys or whatnot, I'm on board.
Sounds great. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yep. All right. See you, Steve.
Smashing Records!